going on, guys? Alex here with 814ADC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the CMB Knives TNB. Now, this I believe is the first model I've ever handled from CMB. They are primarily they make a lot of budget models, but they also have been making some more higher end stuff. I know they have a few Tiagas, I believe is how you pronounce his name, designs that Kevin has had in the past that he's really liked. No, I take that back. I have handled the CMB Dwarma. I think that was the first variation, and that was like a little bit of a higher end knife. So this is the first variation, I guess, of a budget knife that I've handled from them. And this is the TNB. I had no idea that this knife even existed until Kevin put it in the Lefty passaround group. This came in with the Concept Knives Loki. And honestly, I like this. I really do. I've definitely liked it more than I thought I would after my first unboxing it. I carried it a little bit, fidgeted with it quite a bit, and it's a good little budget knife, definitely for sure. So getting right into materials, this is, you guys can see right on the pot clip there, that is a Hydra design. I'm not familiar with Hydra, don't really know much about them at all. I just, see it's a Hydra design. I really don't like branding on the pot clip. I wish I would have put that somewhere else on the scales, or on the knife, like on the blade, maybe even the scale somewhere. But don't really love that too much. But flipper tab up top here, lanyard hole built into the back spacer. Has a nice, simple, kind of chunky, sort of chody drop point blade in 14C28N. I think that is a Hydra designer too, so I don't know why they put both on there. I could have definitely lived with this one and not that one. And then on the back side here is CMB Knives. And then 14C28N is tucked into a scale right there on the blade, if you guys can see that. And then this is numbered 106 on the flipper tab right there. It's in black G10 with nested liners. The G10 looks like it has some sort of like sun design on it, which is interesting. It's definitely, it's really cut into the G10, so it adds a nice amount of grip and texture. Some of the edges are sharp, so that's kind of a, neither here nor there type of thing. Button lock, the button stands pretty proud of the scales. Flat grind, kind of a middle of the road amount of thickness on the blade. Looks like there are two sort of narrow, long pockets for internal milling on the liners. Some specs for you guys. Overall length is 6.93 inches, blade length of 2.87 inches, handle length of 4.06 inches, blade width of 1.06, and a blade thickness of 3.22 millimeters. Again, it's 14C28N, coming in with a black stonewash on the blade. At first I thought it was a DLC, but if you catch the light the right way, you can see it is a stonewash. G10 with a stainless steel clip, loop over style deep carry clip that is reversible. So you have a section over here for it, a filler tab, which will be a nice addition to the knife. Weighs 3.49 ounces. So there are two other variations of the knife. You can get this one, the all blacked out version. They also offer a Stormtrooper version with the blacked out blade, blacked out hardware with white G10. And then you can get a stonewash blade, stonewash hardware, and a gray G10 handle. So all three different variations look nice. And of course, I will leave a link below to CMB Knives' website. I couldn't find them on White Mountain Knives, so I'm using their website for you guys. But for 14C28N, a button lock, G10, loop over style deep carry clip, good action. I got to give it a 5. No complaints at all from that department. Next up is aesthetic. I think it looks nice. Again, I do think the blade is a little bit kind of chunky and short and stocky. If this knife was maybe elongated a little bit more, I think I would like it a little bit more. But I do think it is a decent looking design. I'm going to give it a 4. Again, if it was a little bit maybe longer and not as tall, a little bit thinner in the scales, it would have been a 5 for me. But I do think it's a very clean, simple looking design, and I can't really take too much away from that. So next up is the action. Now you do have a flipper tab with no jimping up top there. I would have liked to have a little bit of jimping, but honestly, it's not too bad. You guys can hear the detent popping back into place right there. Flipper tab flies right out of there. You can do the light switch method like this, pull down, or you can do the push button, which I do, probably 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10. Just flies right out of there. You can get it to fail, but you guys can see it's coming close to locking up. So the detent is nicely tuned, which is nice. So the spring tension is nicely tuned. Then for the button lock, you guys can see pushing the button in and it just drops down. Now there is a little bit of blade play. I wasn't able to get this locked up super duper tight, and it is a pass around knife, so I'm not going to put like thread lock or Loctite, things of that nature in there. So it is, a little bit loose, which will maybe make, could be adding to the action, but you guys can see it just a free dropper, which is a huge, selling point of button locks, is having that awesome action. Now I'm pushing the blade or the button in the whole time, but you guys can drop it and let go of the button, and it'll, sort of suck it right back in. But very fidgety, great action, an easy 5. This was definitely a surprise to me for how good the action was. And I like how, much the button lock sticks out of there, because some button locks, you really have to like, indent it, push it in quite a bit. But this, you just a little bit of pressure just lets the blade go free. And it's very nice for a action and fidgetability department. But next up is acoustics. It's good. For G10 and you're getting that constant repetitive nice snap. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to give it a 4. The G10 definitely dulls it a little bit. If it was aluminum or titanium, obviously it would make it better. But for what this knife is, I think it's very good. So I am going to give it a 4. Next up is ergos, and ergos are okay for me. I do feel a little bit squished on there. I can get all 4 fingers in the knife. They're better than okay. They're good. They're not great, I guess. You do have jimping up top here. Pretty simple design. You have pretty much a straight line going from, it has a little bit of a curvature going on. You have, of course, the backspacer right here. Pretty much a straight line from here, indents in with the flipper tab. Now choked back, I can get a 4-finger grip on here pretty well. I am a little bit squished, so it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I do enjoy having a 4-finger grip on here. You can choke up and kind of use this as a landing choil. You do have to be aware that you are on the edge of the blade. So I would only be doing that if you're, doing something very, very cautiously, cutting around things of that nature cautiously. But it's comfortable for the push grip. If you're, push grip, push cuts if you're going through cardboard. You do have to be aware with the pinch grip with the button lock. If you push too hard, you can disengage the blade like I just did. But as far as pocket clips go, this is a loop over stop D carry clip, so it does sit a little bit more proud of the scale. And when you're choked back, you can feel it, but unless you're like just really gripping this super duper hard, not causing much of a hotspot at all. Don't really have any complaints with that. So I'm going to give this a 4 on the ergo department. Again, I just feel like if this was similar to the aesthetic, part of my review, I feel like if this was just maybe a little bit longer and a little bit thinner, it would just be that much more comfortable. But as of right now, I do feel while this is comfortable, the G10 adds a nice texture to it. And then these cuts into the G10 add even more of a texture. So you get a really good grip on the knife. But I just feel like I'm squished a little bit just due to how, kind of small the handle is. If you had like an extra ½ an inch back here, I definitely, would give this a 5 out of 5, but I think a 4 is still pretty good. Just again, feel a little bit squished. So next up is carry, and this came in at, I think 3.49. Yeah, 3.49 ounces. So, 3.5 ounces is, pretty lightweight. It's a small knife. Kind of a chunky small knife. It's a little bit thick, but loop over style deep carry clip that I feel like they definitely could have moved this knife or the clip up into this section to get more of a true deep carry. Because even though it's a deep carry clip, you're still getting about that much out of your pocket. And it is lefty, reversible, so that's really nice, which is great for button locks. But I just feel like if they were able to maybe readjust that clip or body screw right here, maybe just switch them, push the clip screw, or excuse me, the clip over this way, and then push the body screw over this way, up into this corner. I feel like they would have had a better, true deep carry. So that I'm going to knock half a point down, but sits in your pocket. You do have a flipper tab, but there is no jimping on this flipper tab. So you really don't have any risk of pulling the knife up out of your pocket when you're down there with your hand reaching for, change, chapstick, things that you carry in your pocket that might be floating at the bottom. I had no issues with it. I carried this with jeans, and I just threw it in my shorts and my sweatpant pocket, lounging around the house. And I think I did carry it out in my sweatpants one time, running a few errands. It has a decent weight to it, for the size. No complaints at all, really. Carries well. Clip goes in a pocket nicely. It is lefty reversible. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 just due to, the clip could have been adjusted a little bit and pushed off on the side to make it more of a true deep carry. So that's my one little nitpick for it. But that brings me to my final category of price point, what I recommend the knife and value. So according to CMB Knives' website, the CMB TNB is designed by Hydra Design. It is coming in at $70. I think that's a fair price. I really do. If you can find it eventually, maybe in stock on like White Mountain Knives, you can use someone's 10% off code. It gets it closer to $60. But I think it's a good value. I think for what you're paying for the knife. And actually, I just realized on here, you can't buy anything on the website. When it comes up, it says MSRP of $70. So actually, let me look this up. I did not realize you can't buy things directly from TNB, but I see you can find it on Amazon. So it's probably going to be, yeah, okay. So it's a cheaper price on Amazon. Okay, that actually is a better deal, in my opinion. So instead of the CMB website, I will leave a link to the Amazon listing down below. And all three models are the same price. They come in at Amazon of $59.50, which is a even better value, in my opinion, for the TNB. I'm glad I checked that out because MSRP on some websites for detailers and stuff like that tend to be a little bit higher. But when I clicked on the knife, it didn't give me an option to add to cart, to buy, whatever it may be. So I'm glad I looked that up. And $60 for this, especially if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can get that, fast 2-day shipping. I think $60, technically sub $60, is a great value. So I'm going to give that an easy 5. The design is decent, good fit and finish for a budget knife, good action, good fidgetability with the button lock. Ergos are decent, could be a little bit better, but again, I tried to take this for what it is, and for being a budget knife, I think this is going to get a pretty good score. And all three are in stock on Amazon, so like I said, if you guys are interested, definitely go check the link down below. Yeah, so let me add this up real quick, and then we'll get to my final score. But 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, so I have the CMB TNB coming in at a 31.5, which on my scale is falling in the great category. It's actually beating the Kaiser Sub 3 OBK by 1 point, which was my last review. So yeah, I think that's very adequate. It's definitely surprised me a little bit. When I saw Kevin, showcase this in the Slack group chat, I was definitely not expecting really much of it. It was kind of like one of my, honestly, out of the Tuya, the Kaiser, and the Concept Loki, this was my least favorite model, or like my, I was showing the least interest in this model. But it definitely surprised me. This is a really good, little budget knife, sub $60, 14C 28N, nice G10 with some interesting designs in it, button lock, great action, reversible loop over style deep carry clip, nice little size, really can't complain at all. So yeah, let me know down below, have you guys handled a CMB before? If you haven't, you know, do you like any of the models? Do you like this model? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, so let me know down below. But I'm going to wrap this up now, so thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.